Chapter 2 The Banana Cream Pie Paradox. Time machines are awesome. There's no doubt about it. But they can also be very dangerous. It's possible that a person could go back in time and accidentally change one little thing, and that's one teeny, tiny, itsy-bitsy thing could profoundly affect the future. This is what scientists refer to as the banana cream pie paradox. Imagine, if you will, that a scientist from the year 2020 baked a banana cream pie using bananas that he harvested from his very own banana tree. Let's suppose now that the scientist took his banana cream pie into a time machine which snapped him and the pie back to the year 1936. Now imagine that the scientist stepped out of his time machine and accidentally chipped it, smashing his pie into the face of a lady sitting at a fancy garden party. Now suppose that the lady jumped up angrily, wiped a handful of gooey banana cream pie falling from her face, and threw it at the scientist. The scientist ducked, causing the banana goo to smack into the face of a gentleman standing nearby. A waitress pointed at the gentleman and laughed. The angry gentleman wiped the goo from his face and smooshed it into the waitress' face. "Well," said the waitress, "I've never been so insulted in all my life." "You ought to get some more, lady. Look, said a wise guy. "Why don't you mind your own business, but brain?" said another man. As he poked the wise guy in the eyes, the wise guy fell backward and landed on the scientist's banana tree, which was just a tiny sapling in 1936. The tiny banana tree snapped in half and died. Now, if the scientist's banana tree died in 1936, it could never grow up and produce bananas. Therefore, the scientist would not have had the main ingredients be used to make his banana cream pie in the year 2020. Consequently, the banana cream pie could not exist. Tell that to these guys. Many scientists throughout the centuries have pondered the banana cream pie paradox and have come to the conclusion that people should be really careful when they use time machines, because one simple change in the past could affect the future and even possibly destroy our entire planet. Chapter 3 The Real Ending to Our Last Adventure. As we already saw in Chapter 1, George and Howard were being taken to jail when T.P. Tinkerchalses traveled backward through time and interfered. But what would have happened if he hadn't showed up? What was supposed to happen before T.P. so rudely interrupted them? Well, sit back and get comfortable, because you're about to find out. The police chief and his right-hand man, Officer Matt Wrigley, handcuffed George and Howard and chauffeured them into the back of their police car. "You've got the wrong guys," cried Howard. "We didn't rob that bank." "It's true," said George. "That bank was robbed by our evil twins from an alternate universe." "Yeah, right," said Officer Matt Wrigley. "If I had a nickel for every time I've heard that excuse." On the way to jail, the cops drove past Mr. Crumb, who was busy cleaning up the soggy toilet paper in his yard. "Hey!" shouted the police chief. "That's the guy who robbed the bank with those keys." "Let's get him!" yelled Officer Matt Wiggly. The cops slammed on the brakes, grabbed Mr. Crumb, handcuffed him, and threw him into the back seats of the car along with Josh and Howard. Their trials lasted for nearly a year, and Josh, Howard, and Mr. Crumb were all found guilty. They were each sentenced to 10 years of incarceration. This unusually harsh sentence was tough on Josh and Howard, but it was really hard on Mr. Crumb. Chapter 4: Life in the Big House. Poor Mr. Crumb. He had been locked up at the Precor State Penitentiary for months, and the life of a jailbird just wasn't his thing. All day long, he had people bossing him around. He ate nutritionally deficient, horrible-tasting meals in a filthy cafeteria. He got harassed constantly by a bunch of meat-headed bullies, and he spent his days doing manual busy work in an overcrowded, poorly ventilated Swiss shop. Mr. Crumb was told when to eat, when to read, and when to exercise. He even had to ask permission to go to the bathroom. He was constantly bombarded with pointless rules, ridiculous discipline, random searches, metal detectors, security cameras, and parameters designed to make everyone complaints and the show. It was a lot like being a student at Jewel Horace Elementary School, except that the prison had better funding. Mr. Crumb grumbled angrily to himself as he stomped around the prison courtyard on a gloomy autumn afternoon. In the center of the courtyard, a giant green tarp shielded everyone's eyes from something large and tall that was being built in honor of the Precor State Penitentiary's upcoming 10-year anniversary. Everyone assumed that it was some kind of statue, but since nobody had been this top-secret project, not even the warden, nobody was quite sure what it was. "I'm sick of this place," Mr. Crumb muttered to himself. "Everybody's always telling me what to do. If one more person gives me another order, I think I'm going to go crazy."